Roger Clemens, 12 strikeouts the other night. What an outstanding job. And we asked him, if this isn't the biggest game he pitched, what game was?
Yeah, it's got to be one of the most important and one of the biggest. I'm looking for my 13th win still, and be the high of my college career. This could be my last college game pitched too. So this is a really big game for me as well as the team, and everything's right there real close in our grasp. So we just got to go out there and get it.
Magadan got the ball off his bat, and that is a strikeout. Strikeout number 4. Got him looking.
Well, that was a good pitch, whatever it was, split finger or not.
Oh, strike. Caught him looking. And make that strikeout number 6 for Clemens. High into center field. Trent goes back near the warning track about 380 feet away. And that's the second out. 4-3 the score. Texas 1 out away from the national championship. Alabama 1 run away from tying it up in the ninth. And Lake, the batter who hit the ball hard the first time he saw Clemens, has since struck out twice. Looking at a curveball and then a fastball he fouled into the glove of Heron. Swings high in the air. This should be it. Texas should have the national championship. Bubbly back to make the play. It belongs to Texas, the 1983 College World Series National Championship team.
It was to be the strength of the East against the best of the West. The Boston Red Sox versus the California Angels. Beyond all the theoretical comparisons and contrasts between the two clubs, the simple fact was, it would be a best-of-7 series. The winner to go on, the loser to go home. Game 1 was a matchup of aces. Roger Clemens against Mike Witt. In the first inning, both faced the top of the opposing order and sent them back.
Strike 3, Downing lines to Bonds at third. Backhanded grab by DeCinces.
But in the second inning, after picture-perfect strikeouts of Rob Wilfong and Dick Schofield, Clemens faced trouble.
Bill Fisher to the mound to talk with Clemens and Gedlin. Jones lines one into center field, sliced down the line and left. This looks like trouble. Ripped down the line into left field. Reggie swings, and this is strike 3.
Roger had thrown 45 pitches to retire the side, far more than he had ever needed before. The score was 4-0 Angels. And while Clemens was being hit, the Red Sox remained hitless against Witt, inning after inning. Finally, with Owen on by a walk and Boggs on with the Sox first hit, there was 2 on and 2 out when Marty Barrett came to the plate with Boston's first real chance.
Here's the 1-2 pitch coming on from Witt. Drive to right field. Owen around third. The throw home, and he is safe at home.
It was a start, but it was all that there would be. By the end, the Sox were defeated 8-1. Clemens had thrown 94 strikes in 143 pitches, enough to strike out more than 30 batters, but not enough this night to beat Mike Witt, who was, in a word, unbeatable. It was a perfect day at Fenway. Autumn blue sky, temperature in the mid-60s, and Bruce Hurst was on the mound. Hurst would match up against Kurt McCaskill, a very good right-hander with a 9-3 record for the season's second half. Perhaps McCaskill was one of the best, perhaps not. But there was little question regarding the credentials of the Red Sox leadoff man for Game 2, and no question after a 2-2 count. McCaskill had seen the best batter of the regular season, and then he faced the man who would become the best batter for the postseason. It was Barrett's third hit in the series, and it gave Boston a 1-0 lead. Hurst and the Red Sox controlled the game, working calmly and carefully through innings and crises alike. And all the while, the second-best defensive team in the league tried to stop a relentless Boston attack. Hurst was as good as he could be. Jim Rice and the rest of the Red Sox batters provided the power to go with the pitching. By twilight's last stand, the score was 9-2, and the Sox had evened the series at 1 game apiece.
Ground ball to Boggs, knocks it down, picks it up over to second, and the series is even.
East is East and West is West, but they met in Anaheim for ALC Game 3. Dennis Oil Can Boyd was on the mound for Boston, John Candelaria for California. Through the first inning, both men pitched as expected, with fine control. In the second, Candelaria faced his first moment of truth. Jim Rice walked. Don Baylor struck his 4th hit of the series. After a pickoff play on Baylor, Dwight Evans singled to left. There were runners on first and third as Rich Gedman came to the plate.
Hit back up the middle. Base hit. Rice will score.
Boston held its slim 1-run lead until the bottom of the 4th, when the Angels tried to kick the can.
Fly ball right field, and it's going to drop in there for a base hit. Line to left field. Base hit. Boyd throws. There's a dribbler going down the line. It hits the first base bag. The play at the plate. He's safe at home, and Gedman doesn't like it. He goes at it with Cooney. And now Gene Mark doesn't look very happy. Let's see what's going to happen here. He's into it now with the umpires, and they're checking with Rich Garcia. Mark is fired up.
Much to the chagrin of the hometown crowd, the decision stood. The Angels, at the end of 4, had no score and no manager. But the Angels came back in the 6th for 1 run, and then again in the 7th for even more. The Sox were down and Boyd was out, but Boston wasn't finished yet. In the 8th, they made their drive.
Fly ball. And back goes Jones. It's by him. The pitch to Rich. Lines one into left field. Jim Rice coming on, and Boston now trailing by 1.
The Sox came close, but not close enough, as California got 1 more in the 8th, then held the Sox scoreless in the last inning for a final score of 5-3. And now, California led the series 2-1. Game 4 was another night game at Anaheim. With the stadium's lighting rated as the best in baseball, the park was considered a hitter's dream. The hitter's nightmare, of course, was facing the speed of Roger Clemens or the chicanery of Don Sutton. Both men threw hard, soft, straight, and curved, every which way to beat the batters. Neither club was able to score or threaten until the top of the 6th. Bill Buckner came up with Tony Armas on third.
Buckner swings and drills it down the line in right field. Fair ball, and the Red Sox lead.
By the 9th inning, Boston had given Clemens a 3-run lead, and Roger, through 8 complete innings, had given the Angels absolutely nothing. With a lead going into the 9th inning, the Sox had won 83 of 84 games during the regular season. There was no team in baseball with a better record. 3 men up, 3 men down. That was all that was needed to tie the series.
Clemens winds and throws. There's a drive deep into left center field. Henderson back to the wall, and it is gone. Ripped into left field for a base hit, and the tying run coming up to the plate. McNamara has a tough decision to make. He makes it. He wants Schiraldi. And the pitch into left field. Rice coming over. Now going back. It's going over his head as he misjudged the ball. They're all running. Schofield rounding third. He'll come home. White at third. Pettis at second. The Angels get a big break on this one. This will load him up. He got him swinging. Counting waiting. Schiraldi again down to the set. Foul back. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. checking in for the sign. Down with a deep breath. Tension right here. The right-hander throws, and he hit him. And the game is tied. Giraldi hit him on an
It had
off-speed
happened.
pitch, and it's
The
all
lead
tied
was
up.
gone.
Bases loaded,
The game was tied.
Jackson.
Now it was one inning at a time. Something, anything for one team, while denying the other. And this game, this nerve-wracking game,
Go to extra
would be over.
Barrett.
The Sox came up in the
Center
10th
field, but
and were sent back.
center fielder Gary Pettis makes the play.
Giraldi settled, and the Angels were put away. Now the 11th. Boston could do nothing. The Angels went on the attack. Giraldi faced the same challenge. 3 up, 3 down.
Hit hard to right field, base hit. Drilled into left field, a base hit. Here's the runner coming around third. And on to score, the Angels are up 3 games to 1, and they can taste victory now. Game 5 will be played less than 16 hours from now. This will be a long, short night.
A long,
for the Red
short
Sox
night
as
indeed,
they dug
and perhaps a
themselves
very
up.
long winter for second thoughts and self-doubt about a game that got away.
The only thing that we said is that we want to put this uniform on tomorrow in Boston. And, you know, in order to do that, we have to win.
Perhaps it was just coincidence. Game 5 was to be played in the American League's Wild West at exactly high noon. And down 3 games to 1, a long way from home, and again facing the seemingly unhittable Mike Witt, the Red Sox were left with no alternative except to play by the old gunslinger rule. Come out smoking.
The pitch, line to right field, and it is gone for a home run. Witt almost had him.
As quick as Boston was to get on the board in the second with one swing of the bat, California was just as quick with a single stroke in the third.
It's gone.
The Sox, behind Bruce Hurst, held the lead through the 4th and the
There's a
5th.
drive into shallow left field. Here comes Rice, and he is in there to make a fine catch.
And then almost
Almost
through the 6th.
Rich moving the bat back and forth. The pitch. There's a drive into center field deep. Henderson going back, and he touches it with his glove. It's gone. A home run. Another look at what may well live on in both California and Boston for a long
A single
time.
play and the game no longer belonged to Boston, but rather to the Angels. And California kept the
Chopped up
momentum
middle.
through the
Barrett
next
going
inning as
over
well.
there, and Owen, and it's going out into center field. White is waved in. Swinging away to shallow center field. Henderson is on the move, and he has it. The throw off
And
the
now
mark, and
it was
Pettis makes it
5-2
5-2.
California. 5-2 with only the 8th and 9th innings to somehow, some way score and score again and again, just to tie, just to stay in the game, just to stop California from winning and stealing the Boston dream. But Mike Witt cared nothing for Boston dreams as he continued his ice-cold dissection of Boston batter
got him looking.
after Boston batter. And then, in the 9th inning, Don Baylor gave Boston a bit of inspiration, just as he had all year long.
Ball 3-2, full count to Don. Big right-handed batter digging in. Here's the pitch, and there's a drive into left center field, and Pettis back to the wall, and it is gone for a home run. Baylor has brought the Sox to within 1. It is 5-4. Don Baylor keeping the Sox hopes alive in what could be their last inning of the 1986 season. Mitch Gedman at the plate, and pitching coach Marcel Laxman on his way out to the mound to talk to Witt.
And then
And he
Lucas
is
came
going
in to
bullpen.
pitch to Gedman.
Gary Lucas will come in to face Gedman with 2 out. California clinging to a 5-4 lead here. Boston trying to stay alive, and he is hit by the pitch. Rich Gedman hit by the pitch, and he is going down to first base, and Laxman comes out again to get Donnie Moore. Rule pitch to Dave Henderson. The first pitch is low for ball one. Strike in there. It's 1-1. The Angels 2 strikes away from winning it all. The pitch is cut on a miss. Strike 2. And there's a ball outside and low 2-2 to Dave. Angels 1 strike away from the World Series. Henderson getting ready. Donnie Moore on the mound. They're standing here in Anaheim for the Angels. Moore works to the set. Delivers. There it goes. Deep to left field. The ball hit hard. Downing back and it's gone. Dave Henderson has hit a home run. The Red Sox have taken the lead. This is unbelievable.
He had given away 2 runs in the 6th inning. In the 9th, he took them back. In a single instant, Dave Henderson became a Red Sox player to be remembered forever. But there still remained one final task, and that was to close out the Angels in the bottom of the 9th. And California was not to go lightly.
Safe at home. Broken bat, and Crawford snares it, and we're going to the 10th.
Neither team took the 10th. In the 11th, Boston took it all.
Hit by the pitch. Evans up the middle into center field, base hit. The bunt popped up. Fair ball, and it's safe at first base. The Sensei barehanding, but the throw into the air in left center field. Pettis under it. Baylor tags, and he scores. The Red Sox lead it 7-6.
It was enough, just enough, a single run. After more than 5 hours of determined struggle, Boston had come back from the brink of elimination, and now California would have to come back to Boston for Game 6.
The Red Sox are going home. They're still alive.
Well, after coming back and winning Game 5, we felt very confident that we could go ahead in our own ballpark in front of our own fans and go ahead and win those final 2 ball games. There was the same approach. We wanted to put the uniform on one more time.
Oil Can Boyd was on the mound, and as all of Boston knew, the Can would never ever pitch a dull game. Boston was down 2 runs before they had even come to bat. But after Game 5's heroics, 2 runs was not much to ask.
A ground ball will score Barrett. There it is.
The Sox scored 2 runs without a hit. In inning 3, they scored the old-fashioned way, with 1 hit after another.
Bonds drills one into right field. Barrett into left center field. Buckner drills it into center field. He goes the other way. Rupert Jones over to field it. Holding Buckner. Rice going back over to second. Rich throws it by Wilford.
It was power without prevention. Boston scored 3 more runs to win the game 10-4 and even the series at 3. They were not to be denied.
Beautiful night in New England. Clear, dry, temperature in the low 50s. Fenway Park is filling up as we get set for Game 7 of what has been a very dramatic American League Championship Series. I'm Al Michaels, and welcome to your, I suppose, basic second game of the doubleheader. If you can believe what has just taken place in Houston. The New York Mets, of course, are the champions of the National League, and tonight will determine which team will meet the Mets in the World Series. And a great pitching matchup tonight is Roger Clemens, who pitched so well the other night and yet was not involved in the decision when the Angels came from behind. He'll be going to the mound again on 3 days rest. So he's making his 3rd appearance in this series, and making his 2nd appearance in this championship series is the Angel left-hander John Candelaria, who pitched so well down the stretch. So the California Angels, who were a strike away from going to the World Series the other day, and then they were about 4 feet away. Remember, as Gary Pettis drove Jim Rice to the track, they've gone from a strike to 4 feet to a whole game. So it's California taking on Boston tonight in Game 7 for the right to meet the New York Mets. Preparatory to tonight's Game 7 of the American League Championship Series, a visit now with both managers. Let's go to Don Drysdale.
All right, thank you very much, Alan. First of all, I'll be talking with the California manager, Gene Mauch. And, Gene, I think everybody right now would like to know the attitude. The attitude is probably good, but what are the thoughts? What's going through the players' mind in the clubhouse?
Well, if they could have been in our clubhouse after the game last night, there was some noisy determination going on. I think that it's been shown that both teams know how to play. I know it's been shown that both teams know how to win. And tonight we're going to find out which team knows how to win when they have to, and our players like our chances.
Gene, is there one veteran, is there a number of veterans that are kind of being the spokesman, if you per se, of the group? Some people say it might be Reggie Jackson. I kind of got a feeling you got a quarterback in Bob Boone.
Well, I think that probably the most vociferous, naturally, is Reggie. Reggie is a highly emotional guy. People think of Reggie as rather an aloof person, but he is a very sensitive man, and he wants this thing desperately.
Okay, there's no tomorrow for either side. And
we got a bullpen full of people, too, if we need them. I hope we only need one of them.
Well, now, that's a big question. Who do you go to first, Gene, if you have to go early?
I don't want John Candelaria to need early help, but it would probably be Sutton, and if we get down there at the end with the lead, it'll be Mike Witt or Donnie Moore. Probably Mike Witt at the beginning.
Gene, thanks so much and good luck.
Thank you, Don.
And now Johnny McNamara. And the same thoughts, John, going through a lot of people's mind right here. You came home riding probably an all-time high as far as the ball club concerned in 1986. Your thoughts now, what are the thoughts of the players? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are they now as compared to when they won that game on Sunday?
Well, they're right up there, Don, after last night. Nobody has to tell us what we have to do tonight in order to keep going. And they're highly emotional, they're ready, and they've met every challenge so far, and we're looking for a very good ball game.
And Roger Clemens talked a little bit about having a little touch of the flu or an allergy or something that he might have had from smoke on the airplane, maybe a little wheezy. But how does he feel now? I assume this weather in this game has got to get him up if anything can.
Well, he's a highly competitive person, and you give him the baseball, he's going to give you the best he can. He was a little down on Monday, but yesterday and last night he improved, and he says he's fine tonight, but we will watch him very close and monitor him and his pitches.
Looking at Jim Rice on the field, I get a feeling, is he trying, is the 3-run homer, is the 5-run homer in his mind, or is he just trying to get the base hit?
Well, he's trying, but, you know, he puts a lot of pressure on himself, and he expects a lot out of himself, and he is just trying too hard. 1 or 2 base hits, and Jim Rice will be all right.
John, good luck.
Thanks, Don.
Right now, let's go back upstairs to Al Michael.
Thank you, Don. And a beautiful shot, Fenway Park, on a clear night. It was a gorgeous day. Temperature in the low to mid-50s with Game 7 coming up shortly. Roger Clemens was the starting and losing pitcher in Game 1. Pitched well, had no decision in Game 4. He, the sure Cy Young winner, and that will be announced officially in November, will be on the mound for Boston. And John Candelaria, the winning pitcher in Game 3 Friday, works for the California Angels in Game 7. Fenway Park, Boston, Al Michaels, Jim Palmer. Here we go, game number 7. When you talk to the players before a 7th game, everybody tries to at least exterior-wise show you how calm they are. But they also say, but you want to come out and play aggressively. How do you play in a Game 7?
Well, you really stay within yourself. That's a phrase that you commonly hear in baseball nowadays. And if you're a pitcher, that means throw the ball over. You can't have big innings. We've seen it throughout this series, and it's really hurt both ball clubs. And then if you're a hitter, you, as Reggie said, Roger Clemens, high fastball, you have to lay off that pitch. It really remains to be seen whether they'll be able to do that. And Candelaria is so tough, you have to make him throw strikes. Excellent control pitcher. So what you try to do is what you do best. And a lot of times you say that, but it's much more difficult to do it.
One of the oddities in this big name series is that the heroes have been the Barretts and the Boones and the Pettises. And really Reggie Jackson and Jim Rice have yet to be heard from.
Well, I'm glad you used the word yet. You try to keep the Munchkins, the Owen and the Barretts, who have had such outstanding series, the Schofields and the Boones, who really did not hit that well during the regular season off the base, because you basically know what the other guys can do. So far, the pitchers really have pitched better to the big guys than they have to the little guys, and that's the reason they're doing so well.
One of the big guys missing from the California lineup since the first 3 games has been the first baseman, Wally Joyner. Everybody, I think, knows his story by now, the bacterial infection. And that has kept him out of the lineup and has kept him out of Boston. And Wally is with us live from an administration room at St. Joseph's Hospital in Orange, California. First of all, how are you, Wally?
I'm doing lots better. The infection's going away slowly, but we're going in the right direction.
Now, what are they telling you in terms of the possibility of your playing in the World Series Saturday if the Angels get there?
Well, that's what we're shooting for. I have no control over the playoffs, as you can tell. I can't get to Boston, but we're shooting for me to get out of the hospital Friday, and hopefully I can get on a plane and be in New York for Game 1 Saturday.
What has it been like for you to watch this incredibly emotional series from a hospital room?
Well, it didn't really get to me until I had to call Gene Mauch late Monday night and tell him that I wasn't getting any better and I couldn't play for him Tuesday night. That was probably one of the hardest phone calls I had to make. But, you know, I'm hopeless and helpless and I can't do anything. So I just have to be quiet. I can't scream. I can't holler. My family does that for me. But, you know, I just hope for the best, and hopefully I can play in the World Series this year.
Wally, thank you. Get well soon. If you guys are there, I hope you're in New York on Saturday.
Thank you, Al.
Thanks for being with us. Wally Joyner from Orange, California, as we are now set for the start of Game 7. First, let's join the public address announcer, Schoenfelder.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we invite you to stand and join Susan Waldman in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, land of the free and the home of the
We're down to 1. California against Boston for the American League pennant.
This ABC Sports Exclusive is brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet, and by Coors and Coors Light, beers with a difference worth tasting.
The Red Sox are taking the field for Game 7. Thundering ovation. And a little bit of an oddity here. There is the second base umpire, Terry Cooney. I don't know whether it was a cramp or just what, but as Cooney began to run out to his position, he needed attention. The Boston trainer came out to have a look, and for the moment anyway, Cooney is back in the dugout. Earlier, we talked to Roger Clemens about pitching in a pressure-packed game.
For myself, I like adversity. I like pressure. I like to be in the game when it's on the line, and I've expressed that to John McNamara that I want to be in there when that game's on the line. When I start getting mentally ready, I don't hear anybody. I don't hear the phone ring. I don't hear Deb when she says something to me. I'll be watching TV, but I'm not watching TV. I'm in my own little world, and that's where I like to stay until my game's over.
California lineup tonight, Rupert Jones leads off, and then Rob Wilfong bats second. Brian Downing, as has been the case every day, hits third, and Reggie Jackson is the DH, the cleanup hitter. Doug DeCense batting fifth. Then Dick Schofield, number 6. Gary Pettis has been moved up to 7 because he's been hot, and Bobby Grich has not, thus he's 8th. And Bob Boone bats 9th for California. The outfield for Boston, Rice in left, Henderson in the lineup again in center, and Evans in right, with Boggs, Owen, Barrett, and Buckner in the infield. Rich Gedman is catching, and Clemens is pitching. And we'll see about Terry Cooney. Apparently the umpire, Cooney, may have to sit this one out at least at the start, and we are down to 5 umpires. And what I would imagine would happen is they would take the umpire off the foul line in left field if necessary, Rocky Rowe, and then perhaps rearrange things, because it appears that we'll go with just 5. That was a bizarre scene. Cooney appeared to be fine. Met with the other umpires at home plate. Cramped up or what? We'll get a report for you, but for the moment we'll go with 5 umpires. Remember, there are 6 in League Championship Series play, and I suppose if it has to happen, Boston's a good place because the left field foul line umpire is really a luxury with a short porch and everything. The third base umpire has a good view. Here we go. Rupert Jones to lead things off. Hits the first pitch in the air to deep center field. Henderson goes all the way back, and we start with a 415-foot out. Is that an omen or what? The Angels are wondering.
Well, it's an out, but what they want Roger Clemens to do tonight is to have to bring the ball down the strike zone. If you watched yesterday's ball game in the National League, a lot of people say that's the difference between Dwight Gooden this year and last year. They've made him throw lower strikes. Of course, what makes Clemens so exceptional, if you take a look at Rob Wilfong, is that he can establish a low strike and then go up. They call it stair-stepping up the ladder.
0-1 the count. The Angels with their 7th different batting order, and a good bunt by Wilfong, who does this a lot, but Boggs is equal to the task.
A little handshake from Roger Clemens, and the reason that Wade Boggs is able to make this play so easy is where he started out. Another look at the umpires.
Well, what they've done too, Rocky Rowe has actually gone to the line in right field instead of left, and there is no left field foul line umpire right now, so they have moved Rowe over in the absence of Larry
I would think
McCoy.
the reason for that is actually it's closer down the right field line than it is the left field line here, but you have more chances of fan interference in right field, so it makes sense. Meeting also to discuss what the responsibilities would be of the umpires.
Brian Downing now. That's a strike, and the count is 1-1. And Clemens starts the night the way he normally does, clocked at 96 and 97 miles an hour. 1-1 to Downing. High, ball 2. 2-1. 2 out, bases empty, top of the first. This dramatic series coming to a conclusion. The National League Series is over. The Mets winning in 16. The World Series starts in New York over the weekend. 3-1 the count.
Of course, the one thing to watch is that Roger Clemens' control. You take a look at the dimensions here at Fenway Park. First game, Roger gave up 8 runs, 7 earned. Really threw mostly fastballs. Fourth game out in Anaheim and carried a shutout into the 9th inning, eventually leaving with a no decision. Was able to mix up his pitches, so even though he has good velocity, he has to throw the curveball, the slider, and there you see his first walk.
And Downing is on with 2 down, and Gene Autry sits and waits, keeping score. 79 years old, watched his team take a 2-0 lead in a best-of-5 American League playoff in '82 and go down when the Brewers rallied. Watched his team within a strike the other day, and now trying to win it in Game 7. Jackson. Reggie, a pretty silent series, all things considered, though he did have 3 hits last night.
2 of them to left field, so what they try to do is get him to chase that high fastball. Reggie knows it, says it's very difficult to lay off. One of the strengths of Roger Clemens, as I said, is normally, I would think that we would be able to tell it second consecutive time with only 3 days rest, something he hasn't done all year. He's struggling would be with his control.
And Jackson hits it a mile high, and I mean about a mile and a half, and Gedman comes back and can't make the play, even though it was catchable, and that's because of the height of the foul ball and the wind currents and the like, and Gedman gave it a good shot, but that's a much tougher play than it appears on television.
Well, it's tough if you give up. And right here, I think it's the ball, and this is a much lower ballpark than it's in Anaheim. He goes a little bit too far. The wind, what wind there is, blows the ball back. He's unable to make the play.
And when you have a Clemens fastball and a Reggie swing, you set yourself up for a mile-and-a-half high pop.
I don't know if that's going to go for an error, but that's a ball that normally Rich Gedman would catch. So again, it goes back to that question you asked me in the pregame about, can you be aggressive? You can be aggressive at Clemens. You don't have much time to make up your mind.
Buckner does it himself, and the Angels are done in the top of the first. After a half, California nothing, and the Red Sox coming up. John Candelaria, they call him the Candy Man. He'll be on the mound. Veteran, several years with Pittsburgh. Good career. And he talks about the way he was and the way he is now.
I'm not as easygoing as I used to be. I do enjoy the game as much, but things have changed in the last couple of years of my life where I can't be that person I used to be, and sometimes I think that's unfortunate because I do enjoy life and I want to keep it that way and keep it as simple as can be, but just the things in the past just won't let it be that way.
One of the things obliquely referred to there is a tragedy that he suffered, and we mentioned it the other night. His young son, a couple of years back, in a swimming pool accident, remained in a coma for a year and subsequently died. You looked at the Angel defense, back of Candelaria, and Boggs, Barrett, and Buckner will be starting things off. And here is that Boston lineup with the batting champion up top, Marty Barrett at second base. Then Bill Buckner hitting third. Rice is the cleanup hitter. Baylor is the DH. Evans hitting sixth. Gedman, good series, seventh. Henderson, Sunday star. And Spike Owen, 4 hits last night. Red Sox come up in the bottom of the first inning. Wade Boggs, the batting champion, hit .357 during the regular season with 8 homers and 71 runs batted in. In there, Candelaria exceptionally tough on left-handed batters, and if you need any further proof of that, just think back to the 2 at-bats by Buckner the other night.
Really, the third one, Billy, who really very rarely strikes out, was able to hit a soft grounder to first base, but struck him out looking very badly. And Wade Boggs talked to me about that. He said, he got me twice in the middle of the summer. Couldn't pick up the spin on the ball. He says, I just dive in and hope that he doesn't throw a fastball and hit me.
Boggs was 0 for 3 the other night against Candelaria. Lifted the ball 3 times, fly to center once, and left twice.
Really felt 2 of those 3 balls would be off the wall here at Fenway Park. In the third game out in Anaheim, a lot more room in left field, left center field.
3-1 the count. Candelaria mildly questions Barnett's call.
Well, he needs that pitch to be successful. Exceptional control, 8 strikeouts per 9 innings. Just around 2 walks per 9 innings. So he said, I don't mind pitching anywhere. The ball doesn't bother me. Talking about the left field wall here in Fenway, if I can make my pitches.
Down to short. Schofield stays with it. Boggs is gone. 1 out of the bottom of the first inning. Schofield very steady through this series. And here comes Barrett. He's already tied Freddie Lynn and Chris Chambliss for most hits in a championship series, but there has to be an asterisk, as we explained last night, since Chambliss and Lynn did it in 5. But Marty with 11 hits. Ironic matchup tonight in that Clemens and Candelaria have each undergone surgery in the last year.
Well, arthroscopy, I suppose you would call it. They called it cracked calcification, which is basically a definition, I suppose, for bone spurs in the elbow. Started out the season, 2 starts, went on the disabled list, had his elbow operated on.
Down to third, and DeCinces guns him down, 2 away. And then there was Clemens.
Well, Clemens, 1984, off to a great start. Hurt his flexor tendons in his forearm last year, shoulder problems. Again, down to Georgia, Dr. Andrews, arthroscopic surgery, a winter of therapy. And they really didn't know what Clemens would do this year. Little did they know that he would finish 20 games over 500 and 24-4.
Maybe he found a secret. Buckner, meanwhile, is trying to find the secret of solving Candelaria. Not only did he strike out twice the other night in his first 2 at-bats, he lost the bat on both occasions. And then, as Jim pointed out, he grounded weakly to first.
Well, that's the pitch right there that John Candelaria establishes against left-handers. This year, left-handers only hitting 186 for the whole season off them, so he's very tough. And
Chopper fielded by Wilfong. He gets him 3 grounders and a 1-2-3 inning, and we go to the second. No score. No score as we go to the second inning. Reggie Jackson and his future, he talked about that the other day.
Toward the end of my career, make $1 million in salary, a little bit more. And I know that if I do play in 1987, then I've got to take a tremendous salary cut, which I'm comfortable with. And there are very few teams that I can play for. I've got to play for a contender. I'm a managerial move when it comes to playing the outfield. I'm not going to play the outfield that much, is what that means. And I'm a left-handed DH, which means I'm not going to play against very much left-hand pitching. So you need 2 players if you have Reggie Jackson on your team. So I'm an extra. I'm a luxury. And so I've got to have all of those things in mind when the decision comes up and see if there is a place for me. When I was 30 years old, I think I could easily have said, this is where I want to go. Now that I'm 40, even if I want to play, and I probably will want to play, I have to be wanted.
As DeCinces starts the second inning, he hits a grounder to short, and he is thrown out by Spike Owen, 1 away. Reggie, per usual, candid and very honest.
Doesn't look good. All those criteria is to find a place to play.
Well, the Angels, and we've detailed it, you've read about it through the year, with a lot of players whose immediate future is in question, but right now all they're thinking about is tonight. Schofield, 1 out, bases empty, takes inside. By the way, the report on Terry Cooney is a torn calf muscle incurred when he ran out on the field. Foul back, and the count 1-1. Gene Mauch. Again, 25th season as a manager. Began with the Phillies, then the stint with the expansion Expos, then to the Twins, and now second tour with California. 2-1. Do you think, Jim, the Angels have any advantage in facing Clemens for the 3rd time in 8 days?
I don't think you ever have an advantage when you face Roger Clemens, but one of the most difficult things in baseball is to win back-to-back. To do it 3 times. Again, we're not talking about a mortal pitcher. We're talking about a man that went 24-4 with an ERA in Fenway Park of under 2.5 runs a game at 2.48. Just missed winning the Triple Crown of pitching by strikeouts by being beat out by Mark Langston of the Mariners up in Seattle. So if he makes good pitches, again, you asked me about how do you be aggressive yet stay within yourself. You don't swing at first pitches all the time off runners. They've already done that twice.
3-2.
So you really, when you consider he hasn't pitched with 3 days rest, you want him back throwing a lot of pitches. 143 in the first game. As you take another look at the high slider, a little bit out of the strike zone. 134 the next time.
Broken bat, bouncer to short, and Owen has trouble with it, but still gets it. Spike momentarily had trouble extricating the ball from his glove, but still is able to throw him out as the call is made by Larry McCoy, and there's no beat.
See the ball right on the fist, way up on the trademark. Kind of lean back, then he realizes he has to charge. Difficult play. Schofield can run, not as well as Pettis. A little bit out of the glove. Again, when you get jammed, very difficult to get out of the batter's box. That's the reason he was not safe at first. Nice play by Owen, though.
2 down, bases empty, and Gary Pettis rewarded for his great series by moving up in the batting order to 7. He has led off, of course, during the series and during the season, and he normally fills either the leadoff role or the 9 role when he doesn't lead off, but Mock wants him up there in front of Grich tonight. To center field, and Henderson misread it, but has time to recover. It was a broken bat, I think, and Henderson had time to charge in and make the play. No score after 1.5. Well, we'll get a report, but Rob Wilfong has come out of the game, and Rick Burleson has to come in to play second base, and a strained right hamstring suffered when Wilfong bunted and was running down the line in the first inning. So Gene Mock has another problem. He had Wilfong in the game, of course, being a left-handed batter, and now he has to go with Burleson as his second baseman, a right-handed hitter. And in the bottom of the second inning, Jim Rice starts things by grounding it toward the hole. Nice play by Schofield, but a bad throw into the dugout, and they give him second base. Funny thing, Schofield, with a pretty tough play, had a lot of poise on one end of it and then threw it away.
Good call, Al, because he knows with Rice lack of speed, makes a nice play to get to the ball, doesn't have to hurry the throw, but does, I guess what you'd call a floater, way over Bobby Grish's head at first base. The ball hit the top of the dugout and came back.
Now Baylor takes inside, ball 1. Sharply, base hit. Rice had to hold up, and thus he'll be held at third. Runners at first and third. Nobody out. And the chance is Dewey for Evans.
Well, good pitch to hit, especially with 2 strikes. Not in enough. They try to pitch Baylor inside. Great effort by DeCince. Rice waiting to see that the ball goes through. Gets to third, but knows that he can't score. This is the perfect situation that Dwight Evans talked about last night, talking about why that most of the hitters in the Boston lineup hit better on the road from a power standpoint. Evans 26 on the year, only 8 here at Fenway Park. He said if you think too much about the wall in left field, you pull out, you don't hit the ball back up the middle. Particularly good series, but said that in a lot of situations that's what he's tried to do. Hasn't been anybody on. Try to hit a home run instead of just hitting the ball back at the pitcher.
Infield has to play a double play depth. They'll get 2 and give up the run to avoid the big inning. 1-1, and that's where they are. You can't play your infield in here. You still have to give up the run and get the 2 outs if you can on a grounder. 1-2. 1-2 pitch. Took something off it. 2-2. 3-2. And they're standing for the 3-2 pitch with a runner going, and it's fouled away. So they send Baylor, and it's still 3-2. I think one reason Mock has been smiling and more animated, he's so intense, and you've watched him through the years. But if the team gets into trouble, and Gene assumes that normal look and that normal, should we say, posture, it's liable to rub off a bit in the dugout as he's animated and up because he wants his club to stay that way.
A lot of times you wonder why with no outs you'll be running, but you have a control pitcher on the mound, a double play man if he hits it on the ground. So you figure, even though Evans strikes out a lot, Baylor will keep you out of a double play.
And ball 4, and Boone is furious over the call. Absolutely furious.
Well, this is an emotional call from Bob Boone. He stood up, took a good view away from Larry Barnett.
And that call is 2 outs because with Baylor going, he's probably gone. If that's strike 3, it's a double play.
That's a pitch you used to get in the American League, but very rarely will you get that pitch this year, 1986. Go back 10 years, that belled high, a little bit higher. The inside protector, the strike zone in the American League has gone down. You know where Bob Boone is coming from. He wants the pitch.
Infield double play depth. Gedman at the plate. Almost got hit. 1-0.
Goes back to what Candelaria said. If I can make my pitches, hasn't been able to do it in this inning so far.
That's grounded slowly to second, fielded by Burleson, and the only play is first. 1-0 Boston. No chance for a double play on a ball hit very slowly, so Burleson had to make sure of at least 1 out. Rice scores, Baylor goes to third, Evans to second, and Henderson comes up.
Except Evans runs well for a big man right here. Burleson really thinks he might have a shot at, you can see him looking all the way to home. Doesn't have the force. Goes to first. So the runners move up to second and third in scoring position.
Now Henderson at the plate. The infield is playing back. Owen is on deck. And it's ripped foul in the count 0-1 and a broken bat, and Henderson will get another one. Now this is a very interesting situation here because you're facing the right-handed batting Henderson, and Candelaria has a base open, and it's a big base to have open because right now the Angels are playing their infield back, meaning if you throw Henderson something he hits on the ground, it's 2-0, and you really don't want to do that. And if you walk him, so then you've got Owen coming up. You might get a double play, you might get a force at home, and then you got Boggs after that, the left-handed batter.
In this ballpark, just generally, you do not like to have big innings, and if you do walk Henderson, Owen, a better hitter from the right side, not in this series, but during the course of the season, you take the chance of possibly a 4-run inning.
1-1.
I think what you really do is you try to make your pitches. We're watching the 5th game. Henderson with the 2-run home run with 2 strikes on him to put Boston ahead, eventually in the 11th inning to win the ball game with a sacrifice fly. Good hitter, 16 home runs, including the one on Sunday for the season. So he can hurt you, and I think what you said is something that Candelaria may think about. Make your pitch. If not, it's a gamble. The pitch to Owen.
2-1 pitch is outside, 3-1.
Take a look at the Boston bullpen, occasionally waving the towel, something you touched on last night. They don't have the scoreboard, as you see, an intentional walk.
So now the bases are loaded, and now you can truly play your infield at double play depth instead of having to play it back second and third, and here is Owen. Outside, 1 go.
He said Owen 286 on the season with his only home run from this side. Most likely trying to hit the ball right back up the middle, and ball to the right side. Stays out of double play and gets a run in.
Popped up, big out, infield fly, so it's an automatic out. And Burleson makes it official. So 2 down, and now Boggs. Now the infield back normal depth, and you've got Boggs at the plate, and Boggs runs, as you know, without great speed to begin with and fighting the hamstring and knee and ankle. Hit back through the middle, hits second base, and carries into right center field. Baylor scores, so does Evans. Henderson is held to third, 3-0.
When I think of Wade Boggs, I think of Pete Rose. You get the fat part of the ball, on the fat part of the ball. He does it right there. Hits the base. He's going to score 2 runs anyway, most likely, even though Pettis charges the ball exceptionally well. And that guarantees 2 runs once it hits the bag.
Now Barrett will ground it out in the first inning. Strike. 0-1.
Amazing thing, there's nobody up in the Angel bullpen.
Sutton would be first, according to Mock. There have been 2 big things in this inning. One was the error by Schofield. The other was the 3-2 call by Barnett on Evans. Remember, Schofield's error started it. And we'll watch it hit the bag again, and the only question here was whether or not Pettis would have had a play at the plate. Probably not, with 2 outs. So it's relatively academic. But that 3-2 call to Evans was not only a call that would have meant 1 out, but 2 with Baylor going and Boone throwing down to second. Hit sharply, Burleson is there, gets the force. But the Red Sox send 8 men to the plate. 3 unearned runs. And at the end of 2, it's Boston 3, California nothing. Jim Rice, now 4 for 28 in this series, talked about his approach before tonight's game.
Well, tonight I'm just going to try to be aggressive. I'm just going to try to pick the ball, which the last couple, the whole time in the series I haven't really picked the ball up, even though I hit a home run. I think in the second game, I haven't been seeing the ball. And what I'm going to try to do tonight is mainly just stay in there as long as I can, get jammed. I have a theory that all good hitters get jammed. It means to me that you're seeing the ball, and when you get jammed as strong as I am, I have a chance to hit the ball over the infielder's head and get a base hit. And so mainly that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm not going to try to do anything different. I'm not going to try to pull him. I'm just going to go with the pitch, and I'm going to try to have a little authority behind the bat.
Rice started the last inning with a ground ball, and that was Schofield's throwing error. So here's Grich as we start the 3rd inning. Boston on top, 3-0. Grich, Boone, and then Jones as they get to the top of the order, 8, 9, and 1. 1-1. Clemens working on 3 days rest. So much has been made of that. So did Hurst. So did Boyd. So we're back to the old days when in the World Series the ace would go in games 1, 4, and 7. That's a strike. And one of the reasons, of course, would be the fact that Tom Seaver was not eligible for the playoffs. Tom would have been the number 4 starter had his knee responded, but it didn't. Seaver still rehabilitating and hopeful of being activated for the series if they get there. Switch goes down swinging. So Bobby is gone. Clemens has his first strikeout. And Bob Boone will be the batter. Coming up Saturday, CFA college football, Alabama against Tennessee, or Baylor taking on Texas A&M. Coverage begins at 3 Eastern time. So what it amounts to here, as Boone stands in, hitting .450 in the series, if Seaver had been healthy, you would have had a situation tonight where it would have been Boyd against Candelaria. And of course, if we would have had Seaver healthy, Jim, we would have had Seaver against Sutton on Saturday, and the only way we could have done that justice was to telecast it in black and white. Now it hits him. Boone trying to back away, and it hit him. So Bob nicked by the pitch, and he's aboard.
We saw the high fastball to Grich for strike 3. Watch this ball run. This is what Roger Clemens said he had problems with in the first game. He said, my ball is running too much. He couldn't control it. There's another example. Trying to pitch Boone in. They've been pitching him away. He's had a great series, a little bit under 500. Most of the pitches have been away, so you try to change and you hit the batter. Not something that Roger Clemens wanted to do.
Jones, a long out in the first inning on the game's first pitch, takes high. Just to follow up on Seaver and Sutton for a second, I want to wish Jim Palmer a very happy birthday. Ladies, he
He's 41.
I was rooting for six games, so you wouldn't say that I was 41.
Way outside, 2-0, and now Gedman wants to go to the mound to get him settled down just a little bit. Nicking Boone and maybe overthrowing that last pitch, and it's 2-0.
It's 3 straight pitches, and a similar problem. And what we saw Roger Clemens be able to do in the 4th game, the 2nd game that he pitched, was really to mix up his pitches. And the one problem you have sometimes when you get a lead early in a ball game is that you just think you can go out there when you have a good fastball, which it's obvious that Clemens has, and stop pitching and just throw. And there's 3 balls in the same spot.
So 3-0 the count with Boone at first base and 1 out. Buckner can take a little bit of liberty because Boone's not going to be going anywhere. And it's in there as he takes all away. So now 3-1 on Rupert Jones.
One thing that really makes Roger Clemens so exceptional is that when he is pitching well, he does get his curveball, a little bit of a split-fingered pitch, doesn't throw it as hard as Mike Scott, and also his slider over. So you really can't sit on one pitch.
Hit sharply, and a great play by Barrett. There's that man again to Owen. Back to first, not in time. Marty Barrett.
He has done everything in this series. He saves the first and third situation here. Ball right in the middle of the plate. Jones hits it as hard as you can hit it on the ground. To his left. Short hop right there. Stays with it. Has what you would call soft hands. Jones runs extremely well across the bag.
Now Burleson, and again, he is only in the game because Wilfong strained a hamstring running out a bunt attempt in the first inning. In for a strike. 0-1. Hit down the line, and that's a fair ball, and caroming in the corner. Evans knows how to play it and holds him to a single as he throws in behind him, and down to third goes Jones. That's a tricky little area in right field, but remember, Dwight Evans has been playing here regularly since 1973, so he knows every angle at every carom.
Rocket into the right field corner. High fastball to a high fastball hitter. Jones around second. Right there. If he doesn't play that carom right, Jones scores. Not only that, excellent throw as you see Billy Buckner sprawl over Rick Burleson. Not only does he keep the run from scoring, he keeps Burleson on first out of scoring position.
Downing at the plate. Low and outside. 1-0 the count. Downing walked in the first inning. Popped up and playable for Bill Buckner. And he holds on to it after an anxious moment. And the Angels threaten and can't score. It's still 3-0 Red Sox. Here in Boston, Bill Buckner to lead off as we go to the bottom of the third inning. 1-0 the count. 3-0 Boston in Game 7. Winner goes to New York. Loser goes on vacation. Broken back, hit softly, backhanded, no play. And so Buckner, and he's hobbling, and he's been doing that much of the season. And throughout his career, in fact, playing hurt and trying to stay in. But it's a question mark right now.
You see him just poke the ball to left. A matter of adjusting. The Sensei can't come up with it. Schofield knows that even if he does, Buckner's going to easily beat the throw to first if he makes one.
Well, Buckner had to come out the other day. What Billy does, he goes through a lot of therapy and ice treatment and the rest, and that's a daily routine for him, but he's not going to be able to make it. And so Buckner is going to have to come out of the game.
Well, what he did, Al, was he has a chronically left ankle that bothers him from a standpoint of having bone spurt, but what he hurt in Los Angeles or in Anaheim was his Achilles tendon, and that's why he's coming out of the game. The heel is something he's lived with all year long, will be operated on after the season. When you strain your Achilles tendon, the next step is possibly tearing it. Reluctantly comes out of the game. If there's any one term to describe him as somebody that's a gamer, I always said that.
an agonizing moment for Buckner right now, physically and emotionally as well, of course. And those of you who have watched this game for years know what it takes to get Bill Buckner out of a game.
Well, he left after he started that rally trailing 5-2 on Sunday. Going in the 9th inning, down 3 games to 1, a little meaningless at the time. It single up the middle, about a 4-hopper.
Stapleton, meanwhile, comes in to pinch run, and Stapleton will stay in the game at first base as Rice stands in. So already in 2.5 innings, we've lost an umpire, a second baseman, and a first baseman to injuries. 1-0. Shallow center field. Here comes Pettis on the run, and he's there. So 1 down in the bottom of the 3rd inning with Stapleton still at first base, and Don Baylor will come to the plate, and Rice is now 4 for 29, and will isolate on Buckner. You'll watch the way he moves down the line toward first base, going all out on an infield single. One to deep left field to the wall, and Pettis leaps up, can't make the catch, but Downing tracks it down, and Stapleton stops at third on a double by Baylor. Stapleton had to wait to see if the catch would be made, and thus he can only get to third on a Fenway double.
A high fastball again, trying to pitch Baylor up, and he hits it high and deep. Saw a picture at second base, a little bit frustration. Usually be happy with a double. I think what he's sensing, a great effort. If Pettis, who won a Gold Glove last year, anybody can make that play, he can, even though he's short of stature. Amazing leaping ability.
Evans now swinging and missing, and the Angels have no choice. They have to bring the infield in.
Well, the only other choice, of course, and I really thought that that's the reason that Baylor wanted the ball to be in the net instead of off the wall, is that you walk Evans, set up the double play, and pitch to Gedman, lefty versus lefty.
But you're down by 3, and if you can avoid base runners, you have to do anything you can. And Sutton is throwing in the bullpen.
Except by playing your infield in, what you allow them to do is that a hard ground ball scores 2, except I guess maybe what Mock is thinking here in Fenway with a short left field. Even if he does single to left, only 1 run will score. Most managers in this situation would load him up and pitch to Gedman.
Took something off it, grounded to short. Runners hold, Schofield gets him. Good pitch. Evans grounds out, and runners are still at second and third. And now it's Gedman who grounded out in the 2nd inning.
It's a good pitch in the sense that with Evans ahead of the count, 2 balls, 1 strike, Candelaria threw him a little split-fingered fastball, turned it over, and Evans went for it. A little bit out of the strike zone, not much you can do with that pitch except hit it on the ground.
Nearly hit him. 1-0. Nearly hit him before as well.
They're trying to establish the curveball, just does not get on top of it, and it hangs inside and almost hits Gedman.
Hit him, and he was ready to swing at it. So Gedman gets hit, and now Mock and DeCinces are arguing with the third base umpire, Nick Bremigan, and Bremigan will come in, and is it a foul ball or what?
Well, what they're saying is the ball hit him in the act of swinging.
He made contact with it, and if he swung at it, the key right here, Bremigan has to determine whether or not it was a strike or whether he was trying to get out of the way in the process. And now here comes McNamara, because they get the overrule or they get the ruling after help. And Gedman's going to argue this one as well with McNamara, and now McNamara is going to have it out with Bremigan. And Reniak comes over to get Gedman out of the way to make sure he stays in the game. Comes Garcia. The question is, if he swung at it, it's not a artistic interpretation here. That's what we're talking about. And so what Bremigan had to say is that he swung at it, and then the ball coincidentally hit him instead of the ball hitting him in the process of his trying to get out of the way of it. And so in this crazy series, we have a call in Game 3 that initially goes the way of the Angels and then is turned around for the Red Sox. And now they have the opposite. You judge. It hits him. It looked like he was coming around. It's the type of thing, obviously, if it doesn't hit him, it's a strike. Because he comes around, but the question is, was he trying to get out of the way and thus completed the swing, or did he already commit himself before he was hit?
Judge for yourself, very difficult. Looks like the ball either went underneath the bat.
And so the Red Sox lose that ruling, and Gedman is back in there with a count 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-2 the count.
Of course, with Dave Henderson on deck, it comes down to really wanting the right-hander to hit against the left-hander. Candelaria last year, and this is an amazing stat, faced 97 left-handers, struck out 34 of them, and didn't walk a batter.
Now the crowd wants a balk, but John had stepped off the mound, no balk. And gets him swinging. Another bizarre inning. So what else is new? End of 3-0. Scoring summary, the Red Sox getting their 3 in the 2nd inning. Rice reaching on Schofield's throwing error. Baylor with the base hit and Evans with a walk to load him up. Then Gedman grounding out with the infield back. That scored a run. And then Boggs with a 2-out, 2-run single. And it's 3-0 Red Sox. Stapleton stays in the game, spelling Buckner at first base. And just to complete what happened in the Red Sox half of the 3rd, it's covered in Section 2 under the definition of a strike in the baseball rule book. A strike is a legal pitch when so called by the umpire, which, and then under Section E says, touches the batter as he strikes at it. Touches the batter as he strikes at it. And that's how Bremigan saw the play from 3rd. Top of the 4th inning, and Reggie Jackson to lead things off. Jackson to Sensei and Schofield. And Reggie hits a weak grounder to second, and Barrett comes him down. And Reggie's woes mount. He is 5 for 24 in the playoffs.
Well, Reggie just can't hit that pitch. He couldn't hit that pitch really 15 years ago. Clemens made a great pitch on the inside part of the plate, what you would call a pitcher's pitch. It's 97 miles per hour. Low fastball, but just in enough. See Reggie kind of bring his arms in. He wants to get him extended. He doesn't. It's an easy ground ball to second base.
DeSensei grounded out in the 2nd inning. Strike. 0-1.
If you look back to Game 4, when Roger Clemens pitched out in Anaheim, he did really not give them very many good pitches to hit until the 9th inning. He had a 3-0 lead. Got behind Doug DeSensei, a great fastball hitter with 1 ball. Tried to throw him a strike. Doug won the battle, hit a home run. Then made 2 mistakes with his breaking ball. McNamara came out, brought in Schiraldi, and the rest is history.
0-2. Clemens has 1 strikeout. Now he has 2.
Are you sure? I don't know if he's sure, but he called him out. Gedman sitting right there, reaches a little bit. I think he may have called it on the swing. The bat way out in front of home plate. Tough angle to see it from, but it looked like Doug went out in front of home plate with the bat with 2 strikes. Go back to the dugout.
Schofield now grounded out in the second inning. Shot down to Stapleton. And he wins the race to the bag. And Clemens has a 1-2-3 inning. We've played 3.5 in Game 7. Boston 3, California nothing. We've talked a lot during the series about Bob Boone and framing pitches and getting strikes. And he talks about how it works.
First of all, it's not to let anybody know you do it. I think that's out of the bag. The basic philosophy, Al, is that, you know, a lot has been written and said about stealing pitches and all that. I don't try to steal pitches at all. I try to catch the ball properly. And you catch the ball properly by presenting it to the umpire to make it look good. You want to make every pitch look good. If you have a tough sinker that's going out of the strike zone, you don't want to catch it and knock it out.
Now you can take a look at his technique.
And Henderson leads off for Boston. Henderson, Owen, and Boggs in the bottom of the 4th inning.
The good catches, what they do is work the ball back towards the strike zone instead of away. And when he made that motion with his hand, the ball's running down and away. You don't want to move it back. You want to move it towards the plate.
To deep center field, going all the way back is Pettis to the fence, leaps and drops the ball. And Henderson is around second and goes to third. Just looking at it with a naked eye, Pettis may have slightly mistimed his jump because he appeared to be there and may have jumped just a 40th of a second too early.
As we said, an exceptional center fielder's had an exceptional year and series. Going about as far as you can go here, and right here, a little bit not quite to the wall, he jumps. Again, maybe anticipating hitting the wall, knows that he's running out of pad into that metal doorway. Might anticipate hitting that. And a very difficult play, but one that he normally makes.
Yeah, we've grown used to watching Pettis make that play. They do what? They rule in an error on Pettis? Well, that's his reputation at work, I suppose. You expect him to make the play. In for a strike. That's a 420-foot error.
I find it hard to believe that that is an error. Yeah. And the pop fly to Gedman, it was scored as nothing.
All right. Whatever you say. Infield plays in. And the pitch is outside. 1-1.
Well, you asked me about being nervous in the 7th game. It's obvious that the score is.
2-1 the count.
Really, whether it's an error or a hit, it does present a very difficult job for John Candelaria. Last time with Owen, he went up the ladder and popped him up. Here again, a situation, fly ball or hard grounder through the infield, where the infield in scores a run.
3-1 the count.
These are the situations that you live for if you're a hitter. The pitcher has to throw the ball over, try to get something up in the strike zone that you can hit a medium to deep fly ball, and don't swing at his pitch.
Full count. Sutton is up in the Angel pen again. Second time Don has been throwing. And it's a looper to shallow right. Here comes Jones, and he can't make the play. And Henderson scores, and it's 4-0.
Causes a 4th unearned run to score. Good pitch, up and in, right off the trademark. Jones in right field playing fairly shallow. Just can't come up with it. Ball's in front of him. 4-0.
Boggs takes a strike. 0-1. 0-2.
supposed to beat themselves defensively. Lost game 2 with that 7th inning. 3 errors.
Good pitch.
Well, excellent pitch last night. Bobby Grich with the error that put the game away. Made it 6-2, and then tonight with 4 unearned runs. Take another look at a low sweeping breaking ball. Boggs tries to wait. Really, Candelaria is able to do something that most pitchers in the American League can't, which is to get Wade Boggs out on his front foot.
Barrett fouling it back, and the count is 0-1. One and one. You remember Hippo Vaughn, don't you?
Also talking about left-handed pitchers. Best record in the league at 28-18 against left-handed starters. Boston.
Shallow center. Pettis hesitated, but has plenty of time to come in and make the catch. And that's the second down. So 2 gone now in the bottom of the 4th inning. And Dave Stapleton comes to the plate.
This year, 8 and 12 left-hander starters here at Fenway. No complete games. Candelaria, though, is really, of course, the way things are going, may not last 6 or 7, but normally there's a pitch limit on him since the elbow surgery, somewhere around 100.
Stapleton, who played so sparingly this year, with a runner going, takes the pitch high, and Boone's throw is not in time. And a big jump for Spike Owen that time. He stole that one on the Candyman.
Well, did you run on the first move? You see him already in progress. Straight steal. He doesn't look. Picked a good pitch to run, a high breaking ball.
And that's Boston's first stolen base in the playoffs. 2-0 the count.
Said a team that does not run very often. Only 41 steals in the regular year, and Barrett had 15 of them. So once again, talked about aggression, very aggressive base running. You can afford to do that with a 4-run lead.
Meanwhile, Candelaria with Owen at second has just gone 3-0 on a man who hit about $150 during the year, and he loses him with Rice coming up. Even though Jim is slumping, Rice at 324, and Candelaria has just walked a man who ended the season hitting 128.
That's a good way to put the game out of reach. Walk Stapleton to get to Rice. 20 home runs on the year, 110 RBIs, 324. He is slumping, but can be dangerous.
0-1. 4-0 Boston with 2 on and 2 out in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Split finger, trying to get Rice to chase it. Would be something if with Rice in a slump that you could still win the American League Championship Series. And that happens so many times. When you talk to hitters, they say, I do not see the ball. I don't pick it up. And that's what Rice is alluding a lot of his problems to. That and the Angel pitching staff.
1 ball, 2 strikes now.
With the choked up grip, trying to make contact. Something he did, and you talk about the season he had. Try to stay out of double plays, hit the ball the other way. You choke up, you cut down on your swing. Of course, he's so strong, and you have to play him so deep in the outfield that he is going to hit a lot of balls over the infielder's head that outfielders can't get to. So he's in a defensive posture as far as his hitting stance is.
Time called as Boone goes to the mound. Candelaria hunched over.
In the strategy meeting, sometimes you get 2 strikes, trouble getting the 3rd one, really don't know what you want to do. So, especially with a veteran catcher like Boone, you want a little help. Let's have a powwow.
nice location. So you want to make sure that maybe you use another sign, and this is a down 4 runs, a big out.
Runners go. Pitch is a curve into deep left field.
See it from here. You'll see the flight of the ball. Hits it up on the bat. He is so strong. Ends up hitting the light tower. Up there with the transformers. So he transforms a 4-0 ball game into a 7-0 ball game.
Comes Laxman, and there goes Candelaria. In comes Sutton. Boston. Runners go. Pitch is a curve into deep left field.
Look at Jim Rice's swing. The high breaking ball right there. This man hit 351 home runs. Check out the crowd behind him. They know it's gone. They've seen this before. He's only hit 351 of them. Not all here at Fenway. Said he changed as a hitter because of this guy right here, Don Baylor. Didn't have to hit as many home runs. Could hit the ball more the other way.
Empty, and Don Sutton, because in the 7th game it's starter and staff, and thus Sutton makes his first relief appearance in 6 years. 1-1. The last time Sutton pitched in relief was in a very big game when the Dodgers were battling Houston at the tail end of the '80 season in a big 3-game series at the end of the year, which eventually resulted in Houston's winning a 1-game playoff. He came out of relief, or out of the bullpen in relief that day. In there, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
A very unaccustomed role for Don Sutton. A lot of times you think 7-0 is a mop-up game, but Clemens, as we said, 3 days rest. You really don't know how he's going to respond late in the year. So what Sutton, or excuse me, in the game, what Sutton has to do is keep it right here.
Hot foul. And another little bit of irony here. We talk so much as you see Gene Mock and Marcel Laxman. So much talk in this series about 3 days rest. Clemens, and then we talked about Hurst and Boyd, and now it's Sutton on 3 days rest. Don starting in game 4 Saturday. And he gets him swinging. But in the inning, the Red Sox score 4. 7-0 at the end of 4. The salient numbers earlier today in that game in Houston, 16 innings. Mets win it 7-6, and the Mets are the National League champions. They host the World Series opener on Saturday. Meanwhile, here with Boston on top 7-0 and Clemens on the mound, Pettis leads off, and that very happy lady is Ellen McNamara. John's lovely wife, knowing that her team, his team, is now 5 innings away. Grounded to the right side, and Barrett throws him out. 1 gone in the 5th inning, and Grich comes up.
The Red Sox, as they have done so often this year, averaging over 6 runs a game for Roger Clemens, have done it again. A little help from the Angel defense.
take a guy with the ability level of Clemens and give him an average of 6 runs a game. Doesn't make it easy, but it certainly enhances your chance of winning. And once again, they have scored a lot of runs. Only 3 runs for him in the 4th game, 1 in the 1st.
Strike. 0-2.
Indication right there of the type of pitches he can make. 95 on the corners. Stays out of the middle of the plate most of the time when he's pitching well.
Mentioned last night, Grich, 4 playoffs and no World Series. Technically, Bobby was called up, and you were there in '71 at the end of the year, Jim, and he was added to the roster, but he didn't play in any series games.
Just helped us get there. Came up. Some big hits down the stretch. This will be almost 17 years. Right behind Jerry Lumpy on the all-time fielding percentage for second basemen. 30 home runs at 79.
Ooh. And Clemens coming down off the mound to apologize, if nothing else.
Not the easiest way to get on base, but Rich has been around, as we said, almost 17 years in the major league. He knows with a 7-run lead, Clemens is trying to pitch him inside, but not that far inside. Doesn't take away the pain.
And not trying to hit him. You're not going to wake anybody up 7-0, and you can see Clemens going down off the mound. Say I'm sorry, or words to that effect. Boone, who was grazed by a pitch in the 3rd inning. 1-0. Line drive, base hit into center field, and Grich will pull in at second. So runners at first and second now, with 1 out in the 5th inning. Angels trying to get it stirred up, and Rupert Jones will be the hitter.
Well, look at his fluid motion. Notice the drive off his right leg. Takes a lot of the pressure off the arm. Uses his hips so well. Arches his back, and then the classic follow-through. You're really going to teach a delivery, especially for somebody as tall as Clemens at 6'4". You'd want them to use their body that well. It just takes so much stress off your arm.
Jones fouling it off. Jones started the game, hit the first pitch of the game to deepest center field, and it was hauled down at the wall by Henderson. Then he grounded out his next time up. Fly ball to shallow left field. Rice is there, and that takes care of Jones. And there are 2 down with Grich at second and Boone still at first. And Rick Burleson comes to the plate. Broken bat, looper. Easy play for Barrett. Angels waste another threat. Leave 2. They've stranded 5. 7-0 Red Sox after 4½.
Set your sights on the best in baseball. Order the 1986 World Series program. There are more than 100 pages of articles and photographs making the World Series program a real collector's item. Send $6 check or money order to World Series program, P.O. Box 4686, Trenton, New Jersey, 08651. P.O. Box 4686, Trenton, New Jersey, 08651. Includes your proper return address. The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
Al Michaels and Jim Palmer, Fenway Park, Boston, where Don Sutton is working for the Angels, and it's 7-0. And with Sutton on the mound, no scoop there as Barnett wants to examine the baseball.
24 at right Evans. Right fielder. Evans.
Well, Don tells a story about one day in Wrigley Field, they undressed him. They thought he was, at least partially, thought he had something in his back pocket. He'd put a note in his back pocket. Look in the other one. So he does have a sense of humor to go along with the constant scrutiny by umpires, by hitters, and whatever that he is cheating. But a marvelous career with 310 wins, only 295 going into the year, 115 at age 41. That's a rather amazing thing to do.
2-0 on Evans. Evans. Sutton, 41 years old, and will probably pitch next season.
Interesting insight in the interview he did out in Anaheim, saying he would wait till this winter to decide whether he would come back and pitch next year. Until this year, when he was able to win 300 games and go on to 310, he always had that as a goal. So I would imagine he would be back.
And he gets Evans looking on a pitch on the inside corner, and so Sutton has come out of the bullpen and struck out the two men he has faced.
We talked about the framing. Again, ball looks like it runs inside, but the way you present the ball. See him bring the ball back. Houdini's with a catcher's glove.
The way you present the ball and how important that is, and how important that was when Evans came up the first time as Gedman takes inside. If you want to go back to a couple of key plays, you go back to the second inning and Schofield's throwing error, of course, to start the inning. But then, with runners at first and third, as it's Squiver is short hop by DeCinces, and that takes care of Gedman for the out, and we'll see Henderson. But with first and third, 3 or 2 and 2 actually was the, or 3 and 2 was the count as you look at the play again. 3 and 2 was the count on Evans. Borderline Candelaria pitch was called ball 4. The bases were loaded then with nobody out. Instead of probably having 2 out because Baylor was going, would have been thrown out by Boone. Rice would have had to stay at third. And the fact Baylor was going, Jim, was perhaps a key in Boone's not being able to frame it.
You talked about aggressive baseball, and normally you don't run somebody in that situation, especially with an Evans who last year struck out over 100 times, again close to it this year. But what he did is by running him, he made Boone stand up. It took a good look away from Barnett. So the borderline pitch, normally when an umpire can't see it, goes as a ball, and that's what happened. Load the bases, got them on their way to a 3-run inning.
And the 5th inning is history as DeCinces pulls it in, and Boston is gone. On to the 6th in Game 7, 7-0 Bo Sox.
You know, one of the best things about being an ex-big leaguer is getting freebies to the game. Call the front office, bingo. And once these fans recognize me, I probably won't even have to pay for my light beer from Miller. Down it, crack! I love them. These fans know I drink light because it's less filling and it tastes great. Good seats, huh?
You're in the wrong seat, buddy. Come on.
Oh, I must be in the front row.
Come on.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer and less.
Good seats, hey, buddy? He missed the tag! He missed the tag!
All I can tell you about that sign is that it was not drawn up by a Harvard graduate. I've seen euchre spelled a few different ways, but that may be the best. 6th inning. 7-0 Boston, and Brian Downing is the batter. Downing, Jackson, and DeCinces against Roger Clemens in the 6th. Roger Clemens, who started the season with 14 consecutive victories, including the 20 strikeout performance against Seattle. MVP in the All-Star game. And then he closed the season by winning his last 7 decisions. 24-4. MVP All-Star game. Guaranteed Cy Young Award winner. And now trying to fix the Red Sox to the pennant. ERA champion in the league and almost a strikeout champion. Mark Langston beat him out at the end. And it's hit in the air to right field and a base hit for Downing. So Bryan starts things with a single. The Angels have had a couple of threats. They had 2 on, 2 out in the 3rd. Downing fouled out. 2 on, 1 out in the 5th. And Jones and Burleson couldn't do anything.
You see Downing bail out, but still strong enough to poke it into right. Situation where you make your pitch. Clemens got the ball, good slider right on the outside corner, and Downing was just better.
Jackson has grounded out twice tonight.
Once on a split-fingered fastball in the first inning, and then he jammed him with a fastball. Looks like Reggie's moved off the plate a little bit to get his arms extended. 1-0. That's what a hitter will do. If you keep pitching him in and you're successful, he'll try to adjust. It's difficult for Reggie at 40 to really have as quick a bat as he had 10 years ago or 15 years ago. So he's trying to outthink Clemens.
Ground ball, great stop by Boggs, throws to second, yes! What a play.
Well, for a man known for his bat, this is how you win pennants. Playing off the line, that's where you want to play, Jackson. Everybody's talked over the last few years how he has improved his fielding and from the knees. And this is where Barrett takes over. Knows he has the force, stays on the bag, keeps the ball from going out in right field. That's what we call teamwork.
And in a 7-0 game, you're not going to say that any play like that is a real big play, but keep in mind it's the opening of an inning. You got a man at first. If that's a base hit, then all of a sudden you got first and second and nobody out, and somebody hits a double and the next guy hits a double, and you're on your way back.
Well, what you do is you allow the team with a deficit to believe that they might be able to put some runs on the board. Right now with a good breaking pitch, the Sensei, who is an excellent fastball hitter, good breaking hitter, ball hitter only if the ball's up in the strike zone. If he hits the ball on the ground, does not run that well, you're looking at being right back into the dugout, all because of one play. Could have been second and third very easily.
Comebacker, Clemens to Barrett, and even though there was some confusion, they still get the double play. It's Boston's night through 5.5, no question about that. They were both there and still turning. There are varying ways to define excruciating, and the people in New England thought that they had a corner on that, the way the Red Sox have been, in their mind, snake-bitten through the years, Bucky Dent and the rest going all the way back. There will be no more excruciating thing to think about, though, than the fans of the California Angels if they do not win this game, and what might have been and how close it came.
Well, everybody asked Gene Mauch about momentum, and he said, I only believe in the first 6 letters, and that's moment. And I really think if you go back and you look at last Sunday, go to the top of the 9th inning, you have the guy on the mound that you want with Mike Witt. Boston scores 4 to come in, get ahead 6-5, eventually win in 11 innings. 3-1 game lead. You have to feel that the Angels may have had their moment, really unable to take advantage of it.
And they had several moments and just kept coming up short as Owen, Boggs, and Barrett bat here in the 6th inning. Because much is made of the fact the Angels were a strike away, and they were for 4 pitches a strike away as Owen loops into the center for a base hit. So Spike is on and Boggs comes up. Boggs is 1-3. And on the Prudential Building in downtown Boston, about a mile from here, they have lit it up. Number 1. And it appears to be prophetic at the moment as Boggs comes to the plate, 1-3. But game 5 will be talked about for a long, long time as it's taken up high in the count 1-1. Not only a strike away on several occasions, but they then rally in the 9th inning, and then they had 2 chances to win it in the 9th inning with the Sensei, and the bases loaded and 1 out, and he popped the first pitch to shallow right. And then they were 2 balls away from winning it because Crawford went 2-0 to Grich, and a walk wins the pennant. And then Bobby winds up hitting a broken bat, soft liner back to the mound. And then they were about 3 or 4 or maybe 5 feet away when Pettis hit the drive and Rice made the catch at the wall. And on and on. Strike. 2-2.
How about the great line from Crawford in your interview? Goes 2-0 with the bases loaded. If he walks Grich, the season's over, and he says if there was a bathroom on the mound, I would have used it. And then proceeds to throw a strike and get Grich to hit a soft liner back to him.
And if you really want to put a microscope on it, do you remember that 2-0 pitch? I know there were a million things to remember Sunday, but in that circumstance, as Boggs hits a fly ball to left field, and Downing is there, and he makes the catch. And if you really want to go back and pick that game to its very nub, and there is Henderson, the big hero on Sunday. Remember that 2-0 pitch by Crawford with Grich taking? It was just on the corner. I mean, just. Otherwise, it's 3-0, and it's a pitch away from the pennant. Barrett, 0 for 3. High drive, left field. Downing, base of the wall, and makes the catch by the numbers. 2 down.
Number 11.
Stapleton now. The sensei to Burleson. So Sutton doing the job out of the bullpen, but we've played 6, and it's still 7-0 Red Sox. Red Sox on top as Schofield leads things off, and then Pettis and Grich. This is the 4th time the Angels in their 26-year history have really come close to winning a pennant. First time all the way back in '62, that wildly irrational year when they stayed in the race until Labor Day. But that was a fluke. And then a lot of years of mediocrity, and they got a little bit better in the 70s, and then in '79 won the division but lost in the playoffs in 4 to Baltimore. Then the agonizing '82 playoff loss, up 2-0 and then down 3-2 at the end of Milwaukee. And now this season. 2-2 on Schofield. Pettis and Grich to follow.
Again, trying to throw the ball inside. You can see it move. Good 8 to 10 inches. That's what makes him so effective, but almost gets Schofield in the helmet.
Ground ball. Barrett. 1 away. And my man Jim Ressler wants me to tell you that this telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. That is done, and there is the scoring summary. 3 unearned runs, and then 4 more unearned runs, and a total of 7. Rice, a 3-run homer, the coup de grace in the 4th inning. Pettis is 0 for 2. Sharply hit, knocked down by Owen, recovers, and no, you're not going to get Gary. A mere mortal, yes, but not Pettis. And Pettis a little shaken up as he crossed the bag.
And when, as you said, only 8 more outs left in the season, you run as hard as you can. That play that Owen should made, 5th error of the season right there. It looked like he took his eye up. Ball right off the bottom of his glove, didn't stay down with it. With Pettis' speed, there's no chance to get him. So error number 5. It's more in the last 7 games than he made in 43 games. Got him for his glove. 4 out of the 5 errors have been throwing errors. Very, very tentative early in the series. Another one last night. Stapleton coming in. Couldn't get to a ball that maybe Buckner would have been able to grab at first. So he's hit very well in this series, but hasn't played well with a glove. Quite a turnaround.
Grich, strike. 0-1. He was fine in Anaheim. He's had his problems at home. Speaking of Owen. That's his real name, Spike D.E.E. Owen. Spike comes from his mother's maiden name, which is Spikes.
Great Rich guy. We've been talking about the 95-mile-per-hour fastball. Look at this breaking ball. 2 strikes, 4 strikeout. Proves that Clemens can beat you even when he does not strike out 20. There's years where after he does get the 20 strikeouts, you expect that every time.
Or a no-hitter. He came close this year. He went into the 8th inning shortly after that 20 strikeout performance, when I believe 2 out of the 8th at Texas. Up high, 1 ball, 1 strike on Boone.
That's the way his manager, John Candelaria, really discusses the kind of stuff he has, capable of pitching a no-hitter at any time, or really every time. Of course, that's unreasonable. And in reality, has not done it since Little League. So he did not do it at Texas, University of Texas, didn't do it in high school, which I find it hard to believe. But then it goes back to the fact that he has gained all this velocity since he graduated from high school.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Popped up. And in foul ground, here comes Stapleton. As Clemens gets out of the way with a little hook slide. And the Red Sox are 6 outs away. 7th inning stretch.
IBM presents You Make the Call. A batter bunts a ball directly up the first baseline. But look, while he's running to the right of the foul line, the ball hits him. Is the batter out? You make the call. If a batted ball hits a batter when he's running in foul territory, the ball is dead, but the batter is not out. If you said so, then you made the right call.
This ABC Sports Exclusive is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you.
Good matchup on Monday Night Football. Back to that this coming Monday night, 9 Eastern time, as the Broncos 6-0 and the Jets 5-1 have at it at East Rutherford. Jim Rice to start it. Rice, Baylor, Evans in the bottom of the 7th inning. Boston 7, California nothing. Don Sutton working in relief. Driven to center, but right to Pettis. 1 up and 1 down, and Baylor comes up. Got to set the Red Sox season in perspective here. When the year began, this team, which was a 500 ball club last year, appeared to be slightly improved, but in a very tough division. And the consensus pick was that the Red Sox would finish about 5th because the division was so very tough, led by defending champion Toronto. Baylor whacks it into left center field, and Pettis makes the catch here. And Evans comes up. And there are 2 down. But you had Toronto, and you had an improving Detroit team, or a team that a lot of people expected to rebound in Detroit. Weaver for the full year at Baltimore, and the Orioles looking strong. And then you had the Yankees, of course, with Piniella taking over. And it looked like Boston would be fighting Cleveland and Milwaukee for 5th. And here they were, all the way, hanging on. Everybody made a run at them at one time or another this summer, but then they won 11 straight and coasted home.
A year of skeptics for the Red Sox. Beginning of the season, during the season, and even in postseason play. Great vantage point to see that little running fastball that Wade Boggs talked about out in Los Angeles and on the West Coast when Sutton started against the Red Sox the other night. Just moves enough to make you pop it up, get under it, foul it off. I think most so-called experts, Sports Illustrated, picked the Red Sox and Angels to finish 16th and 20 out of the 26 ball clubs. See the ball just go down. Sutton trying to get Evans to swing at a ball out of the strike zone. I think everybody based their success on the success of their young pitchers. The man we're seeing tonight, 20 games over 500.
1 ball, 2 strikes the count. And Evans drills it to left field and down the
inside part of the plate. Sutton threw 31 home runs during the season. This is the 32nd one, but just barely. Right at the top of the wall. Another 2 or 3 inches. It's a double.
0-1 now on Gedman with 2 out and the bases empty in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Low curveball, but just hung on the inside part of the plate. And 27th home run for Evans. First in the playoffs.
Freshly printed sign.
I don't know if you want to bring on the Mets, but that's the team that looks like they're going to, I mean, we know they're going to play the Mets, but it looks like they're going to play the Red Sox.
Shamana song serenading the Angels. And the 0-2 to Gedman. Lifted to left. And Downing, out by the lights, makes the catch. And in the 7th inning, the Red Sox on the homer by Evans increase their margin to 8-0. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. And Evans drills it to left field and down the line. And that one is gone. Hits the top of the wall and goes over. And Johnny Mack is 6 outs away from taking his team to the World Series. And a lot has been written and talked about in regard to Gene Mauch, but McNamara himself has had a career, a managerial career with an enormous amount of frustration. His first job was Oakland, and that lasted 1 year, 1970, with Charlie Finley. And Finley was changing managers at that point, like you and I changed socks. And then he finally got another managing job in San Diego in 1974, and that was the first night Ray Kroc owned the team, and that was the night Kroc went to the public address announcer, grabbed the mic, and said to the crowd, "I've never seen such stupid ball playing in my life." But he has survived Oakland and survived San Diego, and here he is very close to a World Series. Jones at the plate breaks his bat, and the count is 0-1. And the Angels, Schofield, and everybody else just muttering to themselves. On Jones. And what about Reggie? Is this the end tonight? Is this the way it ends? Don't know the answer yet. 1-1. Just so the crowd didn't get any ideas while we were in commercial, between innings, they paraded a few horses around the warning track. 2-2. You get the feeling Fenway Park will not be torn up. The police horses. They celebrated their division championship with Clemens on horseback a couple of weeks back.
Maybe that's why they're here, along with crowd control. If you watched the Met game yesterday in New York, you saw the damage to the field, or huge pieces of sod ripped out. No certainty, but I think that most of the Red Sox fans expect, as we see a base hit up the middle by Jones, expect to be playing the World Series here next week. You're starting in the weekend in New York. It brings a question tomorrow. I would really think, and this is the reason McNamara may be coming to take another look at the base hit, is will Clemens come back and pitch Sunday if the Red Sox win tonight?
Well, Mack goes to the mound, and Schiraldi's in the bullpen, and if Mack takes him out, the crowd will understand exactly what's happening. And I think John may be explaining it to him right now. And there's Schiraldi. And as much as a pitcher wants to go all the way, Johnny has just explained, hey, man, it's 8-zip. I need you. I got to think about my rotation for the World Series, and you deserve the moment. So go enjoy it. goes Jim Palmer, Fenway Park. Calvin Schiraldi comes out of the bullpen with Boston on top 8-0 in the top of the 8th inning, and Rick Burleson standing in. Rupert Jones at first base and nobody out. And it's a little looper into shallow right field. Barrett goes out, can't make the play, still tries for the force, and nearly gets it. But Jones gets in there. So first and second with nobody out. And you've got to start somewhere, and the Angels start with a single to center and then a looper to right. 2 on, nobody out, and Downing is the batter.
Well, Jones hits a smash, and this is a jammer right off the fist. Right here, heads up as always. Marty Barrett knows he can't catch it once it goes over his head. High throw to second, Jones in. Put runners at first and second. This really is a situation where Clemens did not want to come out of the game. 143 in the first game he pitched, then 134. And I suppose a lot of people might think it's premature, but they have somewhat babied Clemens' arm all year since the surgery last year. Only 10 complete games and 33 starts. So the bullpen has helped him before, and Schiraldi is their stopper.
0-1 on Brian Downing.
And again, as Clemens overpowering. We saw the breaking ball. It's a pitch that hit Downing with the bases loaded the other night. But 95-mile-per-hour fastball, and just like Clemens, you have to make him throw the ball down. You can't try to hit that pitch. Especially trailing by 8 runs, you want to try to walk if he'll walk you. There's the ability to level the play, catch with Gedman. In other words, you just can't catch up with it. Out of the strike zone, here's my best stuff, try to hit it. Really the savior for the Red Sox bullpen. Came up with Stanley struggling. 9 saves in 26 games. Kind of ironic on a day that Bob Ojeda doesn't get the win, but pitches a very gutty game after giving up 3 runs in the first inning, enabling the Mets to hang in there. Wins 18 games plus a game in the playoffs. Schiraldi has a chance to maybe not get a save, but put the door closed for the Angels.
Jones at second. Burleson in first. This might be a historic at-bat. I personally think Reggie will be back for 1 more year, but it's possible. It's possible he won't. And thus, who knows? 1-1. Number 44 standing in. Will we see it again? I think he'd like to take a grand tour. In fact, I know he would. He'd like to play 1 more year. But the circumstances have to be right. And that's the question. And if they're not right, this is it. Fouled away. And the count 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Very similar to the conclusion of Rod Carew's career. Over 3,000 hits. Hit 280. Does not hit with the power that Reggie only hitting 241, but with 18 home runs. I think you said it very well. It has to be the right situation. Somebody has to want him.
1-2 pitch. Foul back. So many records, so many memories. His career, the magical mystery tour.
always had a propensity to do, which is to strike out. As you said, Reggie can make striking out exciting.
2 down. The Sensei is the batter.
The job description makes Giraldi as a starter struggled, really only has a curveball and a fastball, as a short man can come in and use what is his best weapon, a blazing fastball. Looking one of the better fastball hitters in the American League, and Doug DeCinces threw it right by him.
To left field. And Rice has to play the carom, so there goes the shutout as Jones scores, and on the play Burleson goes to third. So it's 8-1, and all of a sudden it's still for the moment in Fenway. Crowd anticipating the strikeout, and then DeCinces fouling him off and finally singling off the wall. So it's 8-1.
Another high fastball this time, as we said. DeCinces can hit that pitch. Doesn't really get it in as much as he'd like. Rice knows it's a double right away. Really a single as he plays the carom, and DeCinces with not great speed. He knows 8 runs down, now 7 runs down. You don't want to get thrown out at second base.
Schofield at the plate. Lifted to right, routine for Evans. Angels get a run, 3 hits. It's 8-1 Boston in the middle of the 8th.
How about you yourself? Have you set any goals this year that you'd like to live up to?
I'd like to be a better ball player than I was last year.
What do you have to do that?
You got to play the game from the first inning until the 9th inning as hard as you can. There's a difference between hustling and knowing how to win. I know I can hit 30 home runs. I know I can hit 290, and I know I can knock in 100. But that's not what winning's all about. A lot of other things you have to do to be a complete ball player, to be a great ball player, and that's what I'd like to try to be.
Is looking at you. People are watching, they're waiting for you, hoping to see the new hero. It's making you nervous, but what can you do? Isn't it worth everything you've been through? You're a winner, how happy you are. That's your reward for working so hard. Remember,
Donnie Moore now comes in to pitch. Don Sutton did a nice job in relief, 3 1/3 innings. 1 run on the top-of-the-wall homer by Evans. And Saturday, those 2 games for you, Alabama against Tennessee or Baylor against Texas A&M. Check your local listings. The Boston Red Sox coming up in the bottom of the 8th inning. 3 outs away from the World Series as Henderson starts things by driving one toward right center, and Pettis comes flying over and makes the catch.
Incredible thing is he makes it so easily. Fastball down in the strike zone. Home run on Sunday by Henderson was a fork ball. This time you just see Pettis gliding. Making it look routine.
Spike going. 2 hits tonight to go with 4 last night. And so all of a sudden, while nobody was looking, Owen is hitting .450 in the championship series. 9 for 20. Schofield gathers it, gets him. 2 down. Again, the keys in tonight's game. You go back, Schofield's throwing error starting the bottom of the 2nd. The borderline pitch, which they don't get the call on, to Evans, which loads the bases. 3 unearned runs ensue. Boggs had a big 2-run single in the 2nd. Then Pettis unable to come up with Henderson's drive in the bottom of the 4th inning. Scored a 3-base error. That led to a single by Owens, and the inning was capped by Rice's home run. So they got 3 in the 2nd, 4 in the 4th, 1 in the 7th. Boggs 1 for 4. High for a ball, 1-0 the count. Schofield, an erratic hop, but he stays with it, gets him. And now we go to the 9th. And now Fenway stands as 1 again. 8-1. On Nightline later, Robert McNamara, once a Pentagon hardliner. Now he warns that we're blundering toward nuclear disaster. Ted Koppel talks with him on Nightline following your late local news. This was the scene we were talking about 3.5 years ago. NCAA championships, Omaha, Nebraska. There's Clemens and Schiraldi. 83 College World Series. And tonight it's Clemens and Schiraldi. Fenway Park American League Championship Series. Top of the 9th. Pettis, Grich, Boone.
Really trading places. Schiraldi, College Pitcher of the Year by the, I guess, the consensus of opinion in 1983. Clemens, the most valuable player in the College World Series. Tonight they reversed roles. Clemens with a relief role then to win it for the Longhorns. It'll be interesting to see if in the World Series you will see him on Sunday. With again 3 days rest. Marvelous job here tonight. Think about it, he really never got out of himself. He talked about earlier about what he tried to do when big game, try to be overly aggressive, try to stay within yourself, did not strike that many batters out, only walked 1, didn't overthrow, did things he did all year.
Two and 2. Grich and Bobby indicating that this is it for him. Will you ever forget the look on Schiraldi's face Saturday night? And then Sunday, the turnaround. tonight they're 2 outs away. Over which shoulder? Now to the bench. Jack Howell will bat for Grich. And so Bobby's career, if it ends tonight, ends with a strikeout, a hit batsman, and another strikeout. Howell. Low. Pettis. Boom. To feel a little bit for that man. You really do. You really do. Jerry Narron will pinch hit for Bob Boone. Trying to go from last rights to the World Series. And they do. before the game, and he's not a man to make an overstatement. This may have been the greatest week in baseball history between these two playoff series. Incredible. Boston wins it 8-1. They're the champs of the American League. Let's go to Don Drysdale.
All right, thank you very much. Well, Johnny, congratulations. I know this got to be maybe one of the biggest thrills in your life.
Well, it is, Don. It's a dream come true.
What I know you're thinking. Are you thinking ahead to the series? Were you thinking about that when you took Roger Clemens out?
No, he said he had the flu, and he told me after the 7th inning, he said he is fine for one more. Then when he passed me on the way to mound, he said, "You better watch me. I'm a little wobbly." So I wasn't going to let him stay out there.
Well, I know you got a phone call from the president. We'll let you go, and congratulations. Good luck in the series.
Thanks, Don. Always good to see you.
Okay, and right now, we got the most valuable player of the playoff series here in the American League, Marty Barrett. I know this got to be a thrill for you. Maybe the biggest ever, too.
It's got to be the biggest thrill for me. You know, I got some opportunities. I was lucky to get some opportunities in the series to do some damage, and the good Lord helped me, and I come through, and I'm just happy for all these guys. It's the greatest comeback ever. It's got to be.
Well, it's one of them, no question. We got Dr. Bobby Brown, the president of the American League, John Kelly from the Chevrolet Motor Division here to make the presentation.
Marty, congratulations. It was a great series. You were great in the field, great at bat, and it's by Chevrolet, a great car.
Well, we know, John, I think you've got some words to say.
Yeah, we sure do. Marty, first of all, congratulations on a truly outstanding series. Chevrolet is just terribly proud to present this MVP award. We just couldn't be happier for you. We know how excited you are. We feel like we've been around a long time. We're celebrating our 75th anniversary this year, and we've kind of become an American tradition. But on behalf of Chevrolet and all of us back in the home office in Detroit and around the country, congratulations on a really outstanding job. In addition to the trophy, we're going to present in your name a brand new vehicle to the charity of your choice. So congratulations and best of luck to you and the Sox in the series.
Thanks a lot, John. Marty, let me ask you a question about this series. You were down almost to the last gasp the other day in Anaheim. How big a lift was that to win that? I know you were still alive, but you were coming home then.
We were coming home, and I really think we played looser in these two games than any other games because we all said we're playing with the house's money now. We shouldn't even be here, and they did the Angels did a heck of a job. They kept coming back, but it was a big lift, and to get that big win yesterday and then Roger to throw like he did today, I'm just so proud of everybody on this team. We did a great job.
Marty, congratulations. Good luck in the series.
Thanks, Don. I appreciate it.
All right, and right now let's go back upstairs to Al Michaels.
That was prophetic. As you look at the Prudential building, lit up. Indeed, Boston is number one. Nightline, Robert McNamara, the guest, follows your late local news. Right now, let's go back down to the clubhouse and Don Drysdale.
Thank you very much, Al. The reason we cannot get Roger Clemens right now, Roger is really under the weather. He is back in the clubhouse and just kind of taking it easy, but we've got his teammate right over here, Calvin Sherald. And Calvin, congratulations. I know it really a turnaround from the other night, but it seemed like the Longhorns stick together.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I feel good coming in behind Roger, and I'm glad he has confidence in me to, let me come in there.
And, this kind of a year, a dream come true for you. You're in the minor leagues. You're in another organization for a while. You're over here with the Boston Red Sox, and all of a sudden, here you got the bubbly.
This is fantastic. It's really been a fantastic season. I really didn't think it was possible, but I'm just glad the Red Sox gave me the opportunity, and I was glad I was able to help them out a little.
Gavin, good luck in the series.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's go back once again to Al Michaels.
Thank you, Don. So game one of the World Series will take place in Shea Stadium Saturday night as the Boston Red Sox meet the New York Mets. There are the numbers tonight. The Red Sox 8 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error, and the Angels 1 run, 6 hits, 2 errors. Al Michaels, Jim Palmer, that's the story from Boston. Again, the Red Sox are the champions of the American League, and this championship series has been produced by Chuck Howard, directed by Chet Forte, technical director Mike Blazo, associate director Robert Cowan, and a look at the others, the ladies and gentlemen who helped bring you some, what I can say is marvelous coverage on the part of our engineering and technical crew over the past 8 days. Thank you. of the American League Championship Series has been brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By the heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. And by a company called TRW, where tomorrow is taking shape. A reminder, Saturday, CFA football. Alabama takes on Tennessee, or Baylor against Texas A&M. Coverage begins live, 3 Eastern time. College football today. Stay tuned for ABC News Nightline immediately following your late local news. Travel arrangements made through. Promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline. Nobody knows Hawaii like United. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the